Good evening, hello, and welcome to PM Express. My name is Nana Ansakwa. All week we have been having a basic in English rules of the game with regards to the law, how it works, how the court setup is, why they do certain things they do. All is to sanitize us and educate us so that you don't sit back and think, oh, why did they do this? It was foul play. And it has been educational. You guys see me in the morning and said, oh, I wasn't aware of that. I said, yes. You know, funny enough, I wasn't aware of it too. Today we are looking at the court infrastructure and accessibility. Let's say you live in Akwamu Edumasa. You have a court case. You need to leave Akwamu, indeed, to go all the way to Senche. And that's where your court is. How do you even afford transportation? Is the legal system even affordable? We're going to look at all those structures. Is it only beneficial to those who have got deep pockets? How about those who have shallow pockets? How is legal aid working? We're going to look at all those things. The politicians are also crying that, why don't we come together? This winner-takes-all system might not be working. We'll touch on it a little bit and see, is it a gimmick? Is it genuine? Is it coming from their heart? Who knows? Once upon a time, pastors and bishops used to go alone. Now you see all these collaborations, billboards. Is that what we're going to see in our politics? We'll discuss that too. But as far as next Thursday is concerned, and from all walks of life, there's been cry for peace. What I am saying is that, indeed, if you want to fight, let us fight for sanitation, let us fight for education, let us go. Now that we know that the Supreme Court indeed works, and that's where the power is. Let us take all our grievances there and see how we can make Ghana a better place. When I come back from the break, I'll be talking to Dr. Maurice Ampah, who's the president of the Legal Advocacy Foundation. He's been so helpful. The last 3 days he's been here talking to us, not in Latin, but in English, and educating us. Right after the break, the conversation begins. Hello and welcome back to the show. We're discussing the court infrastructure and its accessibility to the average Ghanaian. How the state of the courthouse itself, how modern are they? Do they have computers? How abreast are they with time? We're going to discuss all that. But let me introduce my guest, Dr. Maurice Ampah. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's always a privilege to be
here.
You
become my brother.
Yes.
You're not even my guest on the show. Yeah. You become my personal teacher, my law teacher. Become my law teacher. I wanted us to just look at ourselves as a state, how much energy or importance we've placed on courthouses, infrastructure, and even maybe junior judicial staff and everything. We'll look at. But before we do that, since you're here, there was a MPP's 21st birthday today, and Kwabena J, the NDC General Secretary, gave a speech, beautiful speech, and said that the winners take all system is causing a problem, and indeed, maybe we should, have a joint. I don't know how they're going to join it, but sort of include everybody so that there wasn't that fears, because at the moment when one party wins, the other goes down on the knee and pray for you to lose so that they also get a chance to come. And he's saying that maybe if we include people, they will pray so that we all succeed. And I don't know how it's going to work, or do you foresee it happening ever?
It is a very difficult situation now, and I think it's very difficult to envisage in this sort of unity government, because we have had a unity government idea which was rejected by the people through referendum, and under our constitution, where multi-democracy has been guaranteed, that we will not allow one-party states. Parliament cannot pass a law to declare Ghana a one-party state. It is always in the interest of the ordinary Ghanaian.
No, still multi-party, just joint, So you handle the foreign affairs division, you handle this division.
It's very difficult because our parties are based on ideology, and with that ideology, if somebody is left and right, and people have different principles, the way to look at things, whilst others are looking at enriching the individual and empowering the individual, others too are looking at the mass, the ordinary. So we have this difficulty, and it's very difficult. It's an ideal. I always say that you can talk about an ideal situation, but the reality on the ground will be very difficult, because how do you bring all these political parties together? And you have a situation whereby you're not only looking at the two major political parties, NDC and MPP. We are looking at CPP and other minor parties, including Ifadonko party. Can you imagine? Ifadonko party coming in. And if you have people of Ifadonko such a capable of forming a political party, then a lot of them will come. So we have a situation where we have a lot of political parties. How do you bring all these people together to form a unity government? It will be a very difficult situation.
Oh, no, maybe we have a cut-off point that maybe if you can get a certain percentage, maybe 1.5% and above or 2%, then you are eligible to come and take some, small ministerial or small local government, somewhere.
If you don't take it, people will take on this idea of trying to be discriminatory under the constitution. Because it's a political party, so what is criteria? People will go to court and challenge that idea. It's an ideal situation, but it's very difficult to have it on the ground. And I can tell you, I can't see how NPP, NDC, and the other political parties coming together to manage the affairs of this country. There will be a lot of difficulty. Now, who determines who? Do you have an NPP president and then the NDC vice and then a ministerial position, which is which? You realize that there will be difficulty. And then there will be a lot of betrayal. We don't trust ourselves. That's the simple reason. We are suspicious of one another, and we want to play the fast game on another. Politicians, most of them are not somehow genuine towards the things they do. Mm-hmm. So in terms of power sharing, in terms of who is chopping more than the other, there will be this difficulty. So this winner take all thing can only come when a political party wins power. Let's look at the issue of the NDC in power right now. How many ordinary, independent-minded persons have been brought to the government? People can speak their mind, and people are not going to look at party colors. Genuine, ordinary people who don't belong to any political party but can speak their mind. These are the people when you bring on board. I can tell you, when you bring genuine people on board, the opposition even will admire them. But you have a situation whereby you bring people who come to patronize, people who come to sing the praise of government, people who campaign and don't have what it takes. You look at our political body right now. When I've lectured you for about 20 years experience, lectured you, and then after lecturing, you have become a minister. You get me right? Based because of the fact that you form yourself in the political party. What about the lecturer? That lecturer who gave you that knowledge for 20, 30 years, who have saved, have the capacity to deal with the situation. Then you have a situation whereby I don't want to personalize things. Mm-hmm. Somebody comes out and becomes the educational minister over the lecturer who have been there for 13, the current Minister of Education. Look at his experience, Madam Jane. Mm-hmm. How many years as a Vice Chancellor and how many years in the education system? Mm-hmm. Then we may have others when you realize that you are a lecturer for so many years and then because of politics, the person comes down, become your head. So if that is what normally is happening, it will be very difficult for you to have this.
Isn't it because of the struggle to get power? Because you get a certain group of people to fight and struggle and, go up and down, probably abuse people and put their head in the firing line. And then when the soup is ready and you say, okay, now go and sit back, let me get guys who got really nice plates to come and eat the soup, then it becomes an issue.
Yes, you see, the only thing that I can see is that we don't have genuine people who have the genuine heart to serve, to enter into politics, to occupy public position. I always say that, look, you must always find out when you do, and even when they don't pay you, you continue to do. That is your calling. Mm-hmm. And when you have passion for it, you don't look for money. So we have some people born naturally to become politicians. They love it, they eat it, they will do it for the other again. How many of them go into politics? But we have a situation whereby people go into politics not because they have what it takes, they don't have the giftings, the ability is not there, but they are in because of what they will get. And that is the situation we find ourselves in. That's where we have the backbiting, and you have people who always say that, oh, it's not very rosy when you become MP, but they keep on. Who want to become MP? Borrow money. And you ask yourself, what's the purpose?
Borrow money. I will stay on this subject a bit before I move on. You see, when we were drafting our constitution, even though it's very laudable and apparently it's one of the best constitutions you will find the world over, was it too based on a system that's already accomplished? because we are a developing country, and the constitution looks like it's written for a country that's on a smooth sail rather than, a country which only 15 people have toilets in their room. You don't go by every 4 years, kick this guy and break, because we are not giving ourselves enough time to grow. I don't know, you're a lawyer, you've seen the system and you've seen the constitution. Do you think we need to go back to the drawing table and say, look, Jack, let us add bits to this or take bits out?
No, the Constitution is a living document. It's subject to change. You can bring a lot of dynamism into the Constitution. The Constitution, we said, have the letter and the spirit. It's the people who are driving the Constitution, the mindsets. Because the Constitution cannot do everything for us. There are certain things that the Constitution have said that we should look at. The principle of state policy has given a broader view as to how we should run our economy, the political, our social life, our economic life, our aspirations. Everything can be found in Chapter 6 of the Constitution. But it takes the people, the mindset, the attitude to move the nation forward. So if you have a nice Constitution and the people are there and they don't want to respect the Constitution, they value the Constitution, they want to take advantage of the Constitution and abuse the system itself, then the Constitution will not work for us. So we need people who have a good heart, people who have the other person in mind, people who want to make sure that there is constitutionalism. Our law and everything, our life and everything we do is based on what the Constitution says, and to look at the judiciary that will not only enforce the Constitution, but look at the spirit and the intent of the framers of the Constitution, and to bring on board these aspirations. They are there. There is a document, but the people who are living by the Constitution must have this desire to ensure that the Constitution do not only work, but at the same time, the spirit and aspiration of the people, as stated in the Constitution, and the preamble, that in the name of the Republic of Ghana, we have a duty to love ourselves, rule of law, and also if you see all those aspirations, it can only be carried by people who have the desire, the passion. But if you have situations, our leaders don't have the desire and passion to work for the ordinary person, to work for the interests of Ghana, to have the mentality to ensure that it is Ghana but not their personal and procreal interests, then you have a difficulty in blaming the framers of the Constitution for not providing the framework for us to develop. Because we will continue to struggle, because Constitution or no Constitution, the people behind the will, people who are steering the affairs of the nation, if they have passion for the nation, then we have difficulty.
Doc, if I was framing a constitution for Edumasa, I know Thursdays is Communal Labor Day, so somehow I will frame a constitution that allows them to do communal labor on Thursday. I'm not going to say that on Thursday, do certain things which will keep you away from communal labor. Our constitution, has it taken into account our culture, or now we need to change to suit the constitution? Because clearly we need more than 4 years to finish projects. We have more foreign investments and everything. Have we put that into, or we need to now change to fit this constitution?
That's why we have this constitutional review committee going around to look at the areas where we have difficulties, whether we have grown beyond the constitution. These things can be there. But, when we have a situation whereby a government comes to power and then the constitution says that a new government comes, whatever your previous government have done, continue. Then there will be continuity. The problem that we have is that we want to be seen to be doing new things, not to continue the old things, because if you continue the old things, your predecessor will begin to tell you that you don't have no idea. You have not brought on board nothing new. We have this situation whereby government come into power and then there is a project and they say, look, if I continue, my predecessor will say that, look, I started this thing and you've continued. So they do not give you credit. This is the mentality that we have, and they have brought a lot of untold hardship on us just because we want to score cheap political point. But if you have the interest of the other person, we have situations whereby previous government have built low-cost houses. And then current government comes and is looking for new housing projects that has landed nowhere. And then these old houses are there. But if you have the other person interest at that, you don't look at what your political opponent is saying. You go ahead, complete the old one, and continue with the new one. And this is what is the problem we are facing as a nation. The Constitution has provided everything that we need. There is everything that you need. You see, the Constitution cannot say everything in detail. That it gives opportunity for review, it gives opportunity for amendment, it gives opportunity for interpretation. It also gives opportunity for people to come out with rules and regulations. That's the CI, executive instrument, just to ensure that we can go into details, make laws for ourselves. And all these things, you need people with genuine heart, people who have been called to serve, to come and move the nation forward. But if you have a situation whereby the constitution is there, you are not ready to comply with this, the judiciary is not ready to enforce it, the legislature is ready to abuse it, and the other person is not even ready to read. Let me ask a simple question. How many ordinary people know that there exists a 1992 constitution? They don't know. And how many of us have taken attempt to read? I can tell you, if you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, the important book to buy as a Christian is the Bible. And a Muslim, the important book to buy is what? The Quran. Right. The next important book to look for is the 1992 Constitution, the Supreme Law of the land. How many people have copies? We don't read. But if you keep on reading, if you don't understand, you will be empowered by the letter. Then you begin to ask questions. But we don't have. So we have a situation whereby those who are governing us knows that the other person, and then even the educated, don't know their constitutional right. And they don't know what the constitution says and what the constitution says. Until these elections, how many of us knew that presiding officers have constitutional duty to sign? We didn't know. All that we know is to go and exercise our right to vote and then go and sit down for them to come and count. So I'm saying that we've lost. Look at the various institutions that are there even to educate us. How many of us have received education? The National Media of Civil Education, the SHRAJ, the Electoral Commission. There's the constitutional duty on them to educate us on the electoral process. Having been doing it effectively, the National Media for Civic Education. How many education have we given us? Then we have even the SHRAJ to educate us on their fundamental human rights. We are not doing it. So we have nice constitutional provisions and they are not being implemented. That's the thing. And then when you go to them, they will tell you it's a lack of resources. We are not. Look, I'm telling that those who are managing institutions, it doesn't take only resources to ensure that things are done. It takes passion, your love for it. If the National, for example, Commission for Civic Education have passion and love to do constitutional evangelism is to go out there and preach the Constitution, get people volunteers. But you need money. And we have people who go and take Bible and go out and preach and everybody. Why can't we recruit ordinary young Ghanaians, train them on the basic principles of the Constitution, let them go into the buses and preach Constitution, let them go everywhere. But the passion is not there. So we are looking for money, and money has become the hindrance, and we will not always have problem with money. But we must have people who have passion for what they are doing. Let people go and do the things. Let's always look at money. Let's look at what we can do. As of now, the job you are doing here, if you have passion for it, you don't care whether they pay you or not. When it is almost every day, it's around 9, you feel like you are coming here. Those who have passion for teaching, when it's time for classes, you are so passionate to go. Those who have passion for lessons, but you have people who don't have passion for what they are doing. They find themselves occupying positions and they are looking at what they can get. And they are not looking at what they can offer. And that is the difficulty we have now. We have a president who don't have passion for the other person, but he's looking at the posts and preso, and how he can enrich himself and his the people around him. Then we have difficulty. Mm-hmm. So we should have people who have passion for what they do to occupy various important institutions so that we can move the nation forward.
Things moving. That's very good. Now, another thing, even though today we are looking at the court infrastructure, but we need to clear these things, is the verdict. Now, a week from today, obviously the court will open, everybody will come and sit down. But look at how many boxes of evidence or tapes or whatever it is. So, in the judge's summary, what is he? Do you have to pick on everything that you read that based on this, based on that, based? It's going to be taking him a week before he gets to the end to say, well, on that note, I declared him guilty or I declare him innocent. How is the day going to be like? What is the procedure going to be like? And indeed, is it going to be a innocent party and a guilty party, or you won and you lost? Or what are his possibilities?
Fortunately for us, this is a civil trial. It's not a criminal trial. Mm-hmm. So you realize that when the petition was filed, each of the 9 justices had a copy of the petition. They were served. While the petitioner served the respondent, they gave every judge a copy of the petition. The respondent also served every judge with a copy of the answers, a copy of the amendment, a copy of the particulars. And then all the affidavit evidence were served on each judges. So it means that all the 9 judges have everything that it takes to go home, either in their office, to do an independent work. when it comes to writing judgment, they exercise what they call.
So what would they do? Would he like hire like up and coming lawyers and sit in his office and look, read page 1 and tell me what is this, or read page 2, or is he going to sit down and go through
the
this?
justices has been doing this thing for more than 20-30 years. Some of the judges have been there. They like there is Atukba. Look at the law reports. Look at the Supreme Court law report. This is not it's not something new to them. They are used to writing judgment. In fact, they can write judgment while they are sitting, because that is what they have been used to. But this is a fresh case, and then they know the kind of expectation. So they would like to take their time. That is why, not day one, some of them started writing the judgment while the trial was going on. They were trying to, because all the evidence was at their disposal. And then they know the case, they know the issues. So some of them will start doing their own personal research. It will be dangerous for you, a judge, to start hiring people to do research for you. Then those people can predict your ruling. And then they'll go and tell people that, look, with this particular judge, this is how the ruling is going. So you want to be highly confidential as you are. So I'm sure that, and that is why I went ahead to say that I suggested this interesting scenario that this is the time that the judges I know they've started writing, but if they are watching me, I have suggested that they should not even allow their wives to come closer to them. The wives of the judges should not come closer to them. They should not even sleep in their bedroom. They should, if not, they should even abstain from making love. Because women have a way of going in bed with the judge and then start asking, darling.
How are you going with this one?
So they should avoid. This is the time they should abstain themselves from so many things, concentrate, and even find a ways and means as they are writing the judgment to try as much as possible to hide their judgments. Because if anybody gets hold of it, they can begin to predict, and it will be very, very dangerous. So I'm sure they are more experienced. They know whatever, but they are going to look at what the trial, whatever has transpired, the record of the day, how things started. They will start from the petition. They will tell us what the petitioner have said. They will tell us what the respondent have said, the amendment, and then they will come out with the issues. After coming out with the issues, then they will come out and look at the evidence one by one. Evidence one by one. Those ones that are admitted. Those
so the judge basically be reading out this to us.
Yes. Yes. So individually, that's what they are going to do. Then they will look at the law and then apply the law to the evidence. They are bound to give judgment based on the evidence. They can only go outside the evidence when they want to take judicial notice of things that normally happens. So, for example, let me give you an example. For example, the judges can take judicial notice of the fact that when we were comparing biometric verification, they themselves maybe they also voted. So they realized that some of them went to queue and realized that, look, if you didn't put your hand on that machine, they will not allow you to vote. So they can take judicial notice, and that is the only way by which they can bring evidence that were not before the court. So what is going to happen is that we have a situation where each judge will write his judgment, and they will come and meet, and then they will have what you look at the judgment and find out which one goes for which. And then that is where I look at it. It's like the election of the 9 judges. Then now all Ghanaians went to vote, and then there's controversy. Now the judges are going to vote as to who have won. So the result can be 9 against 0. And what happened at the trial is a close rehearsal of what is going to happen at the judgment, And the trial, anytime there's objection, they either go into the room and then they come out with the verdict, and then you see Atukuba coming out to say that it is objection overruled, either 6-3, and they mention that the judges who overruled and who opposed. But this time, what is going to happen is that when they come out and then they look at the judgment, they look at majority and minority. Majority, those who believe that the majority will carry the day.
Okay.
So it can be 8, it can be 9-0. Then it means that the judgment is unanimous. It can be 8-1. It can be 7-2, 6-3. Then it can also be as close as 5-4. Once it is 5-4, then the majority decision will prevail. So 5 judgment will be the judgment of the Supreme Court. But now when it happens that, let's assume that the president, who is Zatugba, is not part of the majority. Okay. It will be very difficult for him to go and read the majority judgment.
I see. Yes. So then what happens?
So it means that somebody from the majority must read the majority judgment. So the judgment will be read by the most senior judge who is among the majority. Then that's because how if Atuba is part of the minority, maybe the judgment is 6-2, and Atuba is a dissenting judge. How can a dissenting judge go and read the judgment of the majority? The spirit will not be there, and he is the one who did not write the judgment. So how can he read it? So then you have a situation whereby the majority
will select the senior judge
to read. But then when it comes to after reading, when it comes to, and that will be the judgment for the
whole night.
But now when you go for the copies of the judgment, you see the views of each of the 9 judges.
It has to be published?
Yes, it will be published. So the majority view, and then those who are dissenting, how they dissented, and their view will be published. So after the judgment, you can go in for a copy of all the judgment of the 9 judges, and you can see their opinion. You remember it happens when the NDC made an application to join the suit, the petition. What happened? They went, and then the decision was 6-3. And the 6-3, you realize that the 6 majority decision was read. And then the minority decision were read. But if you look at it, closely contested, everybody was making sense. While the majority think that, look, it is in the interest of justice that once NDC will be affected, they ought to be allowed to join. The minority were saying that, look, the president was already representing the NDC. So whatever NDC is going to say, the president can stand there. And they all judge. So we have majority decision, which is 6, read by the majority, and then the minority. So that's exactly what we could do. Because you see, the judgment can take about 2, 3, or 4, 5 hours in reading them.
Wow.
We have some judgments that can take 6 hours. And I can tell you, this judgment can take more than 2, 3 hours in reading. Because they will start from how the case started. They will start if you don't take an amicus application will come in. They will read them that in this period, then there was application. All these things, they will capture it. Because the judgment have to deal with everything that happened to the end of the case. And it will deal, and this judgment is going to capture the various issues of controversy, the role of the presiding officers, the role of the agents, the issue of overvoting, what is overvoting, as defined by the parties, and it's not binding on the judges. The judges will look at what overvoting is, and then they'll look at every issue that has become contentious. Then don't only look at the law, they will look at the law, and they'll look at how the constitution have to apply, and then they also look at some of the things they are not happy with. You know, as the case is going on, the judges will begin to speak to various institutions. For example, if they are not happy with the EC, you may see a comment on that line that maybe EC must begin to do ABC. It happens in the case where Amidu won. You know, the judges not only look at the law, they said some people are create, loot, and share. You get me right? So the judges will have a way of advising. And trying to, at times, trying to punch holes. Let us know. So it will be more like a message. The judgment will speak to issues. The judgment will give directions.
But at this point, no counsel can get up and say, "Oh no, maybe you said this about me, and that's not right." So
no, you can't. You have to sit down. That when the judgment is being read, you sit down and listen to it. When you finish, you get a copy. If you go and read and you're not happy,
then that's where you
can come for a review. So you keep quiet, and then the judges ends. And then that will be the end of the day. It becomes a public document. Every citizen of Ghana can go and apply and get a copy. And it's my wish that the judiciary should start making money out of this judgment. They should get some house to publish it and sell it to the ordinary Ghanaian, so that everybody living in Ghana right now should have a copy and have a copy for their library, because this judgment is going to speak to so many issues. And it is rightly said by Justice Duche, the future elections will not be the same.
Again.
Because they are going to the election is going to be some revolution in the judgment. It's going to be some revolution in the way we conduct our elections. It's going to bring revolution in the way the EC conduct elections, and then even the other person, our right to vote, whether our right to vote only ends by going to queue. And then what the citizens ought to do. And then what political parties ought to do, and what their agents and every stakeholder, what they ought to do, will be captured in the judgment.
Let me take a break here, and then when we come back, now we're going to the issues why I even called him to come to the studio, which is the court infrastructure and accessibility to court. We're going to a quick break, and then we're coming straight back. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the show. With me in the studio, Dr. Maurice Ampao, a senior lawyer, president of Legal Advocacy Foundation. I brought him in here so we discuss the infrastructure of courthouses and accessibility of courthouses wherever you're watching me. I mean, is there a court in your local area? Should there be one? How far do you travel? Indeed, how difficult is it for you to get legal help and the cost involved? But then there were some technicalities that we had to clear. We've cleared it, you know. I like my brother, man. He's a talkative. Look, court infrastructure, sometimes you look at them and it's appalling. And there's files and papers and it looks old, worn, tired, wooden benches. You don't want to go there. I mean, you don't want to go there. I mean, even when they have proper, comfortable chairs, let alone the wooden chairs. Even sometimes courthouses within Accra. And the proximity of courts, like I'm saying, within a Dumasa, I think if you go to court, you need to go all the way to Senchi. You don't have the lorry fare, and then to hire the lawyer. And what can we do to restructure it? But I'll start with the houses. Are they due for renovation? And indeed, is there any provision in the Constitution that asks us to renovate them?
It's a very interesting question, and it's very, this question, you need more than 1 or 2 hours to address this issue. But let me summarize. I think the judiciary has faced a lot of challenges. For some time now, you realize that we've not taken particular attention. The states have not invested so much in the judiciary. And we realize that during the military regime, the soldiers who took guns are not interested in developing the judiciary because by those times, because of the dictatorship.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, because they were ruled by the gun.
People who rule by the gun don't like buklong, you know, and you can see that people, the military is not comfortable with the judiciary because the judiciary talks about human rights, enforcing right, and they think that justice is so slow and that kind of thing. So we've not invested so much in the judiciary where we have a lot of structures. So you have a situation whereby even in Accra, the capital city, where the seat of the judiciary, it will surprise you that we go to some courts, the structures there are even rented structures. Recently, some of the courts have to be, the landlord have to evict them. You know, situations like that. It's a big problem, and then you realize that if you go to the other regions and the towns and districts, it's not has been easy. And I think the district assemblies have a role to play. But currently, kudos to the current Chief Justice. He's doing a yeoman job. I'm looking at his tenure as one of the Chief Justices who have taken critical look at the infrastructure in terms of cost structure. Recently, he just inaugurated one at Winneba. And then, do you know what he has done today? First, in Ghana, we only have one court of appeal. But now you have added a lot of court appeal. You have added court appeal in the Ashanti region. We have court appeal now in the central region, taking care of the central and the western. Now we have court appeal coming as far as other regions. So the court appeal now is almost. We have now court appeal at Koforidua to serve the eastern and the north. You see, so the Kano State Justice is doing a lot in terms of infrastructure. Now, when it comes to in terms of ICT, there's a lot of issues for fast track using ICT. But for long, we don't blame our justices. I'm only about 12 or 13 years in practice as a lawyer. When I went to Legon, I went and studied audiology. There was nothing like computer studies, so we were not used to the computer. And so you realize that when it came even to the current election petition, our justices were not comfortable with the point demonstration. They were saying, look, let's go back to the days of writing and those kind of things. So gradually we are changing that scenario and it is helping. We have got a lot of the IT development in the system where we are trying to modernize the court system. Now I think the justices are having comfortability. At first, when you go to a judge chamber, it's so sad that some of them didn't have air conditioning. Now we have air conditions. The judges are now feeling more comfortable in terms of remuneration and in terms of the resources. They are not enough. There will be more to be done. But currently, you realize that, look at what is happening to JUSAC. The JUSAC, judges don't operate in a vacuum. Judges give administrative and supporting staff. And if you take good care of the judges, and then those who are supposed to help the administration of the judges are not being catered for, you have a situation. Currently, the Supreme Court judges are going to give the judgment on 29th But what do we have? 27, there's a loom, there's a danger looming that to sack. Judicial service staff are going on strike. And why? Because almost about 2 years, they've not given the allowance. So you see, it doesn't take the judges alone to do what is just, to administer administration of justice. It takes the staff. They need the staff to help. People who have to file bailiffs. We need the clerks to help them. And if we are not looking at the judiciary, and it's very sad because currently you realize that the current Chief Justice has faced a lot of challenges. The woman is somebody who doesn't want to come out. No, the judges are voiceless people. They don't come out with their frustration. But you realize that they have gone out of so many frustrations. You go to the stage as a lawyer, you go and then the judicial service are saying that they don't have common A4 sheets to type. The judicial service is lacking. Who is fault? They are not being well resourced. We have to tell the executive, please resource the judiciary. And I'm happy that Atuba and the Chief Justice have come out to say that, look, they also exercise state authority. So we should not allow the executive alone to look inwardly and provide for the executive and provide for the legislature and then leave the judiciary. The two institutions that are suffering right now under our democratic dispensation is the judiciary and the legislature. The executive, they are very comfortable. And why are we sitting down for the executive to always undermine the other state authorities? Go to parliament and they are facing a lot of challenges. They don't have common staffs to do research. So our parliamentarians are not well resourced. They cannot analyze things. No wonder they are signing very interesting mining contracts with our foreigners because they don't have what it takes to research. You have a bill that is full of legal technicalities and the MP doesn't have a legal research team to help. And then you go to the judiciary, common A4 sheets cannot be found. And so these are the challenges that we are facing. Please, the executive, resource the judiciary because they have a role to play and they've demonstrated that, look, when it became so difficult, when the executive failed through politics, they are now fighting over who becomes the president. Is the judiciary, they fell on. And now the judiciary, if it's under resource, what is going to happen? So we must look at the judiciary critically. But there is another area that we have to also look at. Justice, when we go to the court right now, anytime I go to the court and I see that there's a big signboard which says that justice is not for sale. I laugh at that inscription. Why? I'm not saying that that inscription wants to say that, look, you don't have to bribe a judge, but I'm saying that, look, we are now selling justice. Why? Because it has become very expensive to access the court.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive. Why? Look at the cost of filing fees. Filing fees have become very expensive to file documents at the court.
Approximately how much?
And it depends upon your reliefs. It depends upon how much the reliefs. You are paying, some of them are paying 100 Ghana, 50 Ghana, 120 Ghana, and some of them has to even 500 Ghana, and then 50,000 Ghana, depending upon the reliefs. When you go to the commercial court, it's worse. No, filing. And then every process you have to pay. Every process. Now, apart from the filing, let's come to the cost of litigation. Currently, lawyers, we are charging. And don't blame the lawyers. Don't blame them. We have made legal education very expensive. Look, some 12 years ago, when I went to study law, my fee for the year was 30 Ghana. 12 years ago, 30 Ghana a year, 15 Ghana per semester. And then I was giving a student loan of 150 Ghana. And then bursary at the law school, 150 Ghana. So what happens is that I get 150 Ghana for student loan, and then the bursary, I use part of the bursary to pay the school fees. So I'll tell the accountant at the Ghana Law School that, look, when my bursary comes, deduct 30 Ghana. Immediately after we completed, then we have certain regimes. Currently, to become a lawyer, 1 year, some people are paying 10,000 Ghana, 100 million. 100 million in some of these private institutions. Now I can tell you, before you finish the law course, you should have not more than 50,000 Ghana. That's 500 million plus. That is only for school fees. Then we come for the books, and then the up and down. So the legal education has become very expensive. That now when a lawyer comes out, the kind of investment,
he's taking his money back.
Now look at the current legal fees that the Ghana Bar Association should charge. That a lawyer of 10 years, the senior lawyer, consultation fee is 500 Ghana, 5 million consultation.
To sit in front of him?
Yes, just to come to look for a lawyer, the consultation fee is 500 Ghana. Then I can tell you the charges. Get the scale of the fees. You see, and the charges.
So if we take it that the minimum wage is what, 5 cedis a day?
5 cedis a day.
So what happens to him?
That's the thing.
I want to work with him. What happens to him?
That's the thing. So you cannot get access to a lawyer. Not every lawyer.
So where does he get justice?
That's the problem. So you see, justice has become very, it's for sale now, because to me, it's very expensive to engage the service of a lawyer. We have good lawyers and we have bad lawyers. We have lawyers who don't have offices and practice under the tree. We have lawyers who take your brief and then you go to court. We have lawyers who will not file things for him. But if you want to engage the service of a lawyer, it's very expensive now. It's very expensive. The consultation fee, and then you have what we call filing fee. The filing fees are different. Then we have a situation whereby we charge on an hourly basis for conferences. Then we have the fee for percentages. So if it's a land case, the value of the land and the percentage, and if it's a recovery, go and see, get a copy, and you realize that the ordinary person cannot pay.
Wow, let me read this. It says, Dr. Maurice Ampao, you're doing well. Make a conscious effort at balancing your opinion. Well, if it's wrong, it's wrong. I believe the peace thing is too much hyped in Ghana. Nothing untowards will happen to this country because Ghanaians are peace-loving people. Ghana is our own land, and if someone says Ghana is not for any politician, please. And I think doctors speaking to that effect. Oh, okay. Is it Collins Owusu Jr.? Yeah, you were saying Ghana is our own land. And then Prosper Silence Achuchobi is saying that I believe that the country will be peaceful after the thing. But I am so concerned about the minimum wage earner. So let's talk about, he has access to legal aid. How does he get legal aid?
That's the problem. We have a nice constitutional provision called the legal aid to help the poor and the needy in society. But how effective have we become? The legal aid is not also well resourced. We don't have competent and qualified lawyers to provide pro bono cases. So we go to legal aid, and then you are not getting the aid that you need. But the lawyers over there are somehow frustrated because they do the cases, and then at times what is supposed to be paid them by the state is not coming. So you have a situation whereby a lawyer takes a legal aid case, and then he goes 1 or 2, 3, and then he stops going to court
because he's not getting.
Yes, and then the legal aid is also facing challenges. We don't have a lot of materials to do research. The lawyers there are not motivated.
What's the number of lawyers in the country? About 2,500?
It's more than that. It's more than that.
5,000?
Yes, more than that. I don't know the statistics, but it's more than that.
Because a new lawyer to population, the ratio was not evenly balanced. I mean, we needed more doctors. We needed more lawyers. And the few lawyers in town, are charging this much.
It is not their fault. I'm saying that it's not their fault. Because they need to survive. When you pay so much for your legal education, and then you have the economic situation also. It's not.
So maybe I think the chiefs, we need to review our prices. All this bottle of Schnapp is not working.
You see,
because we are also handling cases.
And then look at the expectation of society on lawyers. They don't expect a lawyer to eat normal wachi and then wear any suit. Lawyer must there's so much pressure on us. If when you're a lawyer and you are going to marry, your marriage fees goes up. People's expectation. Lawyer must look good. Lawyer must be, when you go in for a girl as a lawyer and you are going to buy common drink, they'll ask for what? Wine. So there's so much pressure on a lawyer. I can remember one day I went to a stadium immediately after the court. I love us, so I went to the stadium to watch football, and then quickly I undressed and put on jeans, and then I was, I have this local background. I'm more like a Zongo boy, So I went to the stadium, and then I love everything under. That's Wanchi Shishi or Moshishi. So I went to the stadium and I saw this Wachi. Well, the Wachi is sweating, this Shishi decorated. And I went and sat there and I asked for the Moshishi small. Whilst I was taking this Moshishi, Wachi Shishi, and there's this guy who works at the court. He's a lawyer, a lawyer. What are you eating Wachi Shishi? Why should a lawyer not eat Wachi Shishi? So these are the pressure. Lawyers have to go to restaurant. So how can you do proper cases? You need to charge. So we have a difficulty where the nature of our profession, we are expected to live certain lifestyle that is making it very expensive.
My concern is,
and then we need to also survive.
How do we look after the minimum wage guy? How do we look after him? I mean, legal aid clearly is not working because maybe the money is not coming in. But I don't know, maybe law students should take up their cases as practice. Can that help? Maybe if you are about to pass, I don't know.
It's a difficult situation. That's why the Chief Justice called that lawyers, look, the taxpayers' money have been used to help us. That is why I'm doing this thing. These days you see me more in the media. For the past 13 years, I've become a lawyer. The ordinary taxpayers' money was used. If I paid 30 Ghana and now today I'm a lawyer, I think that the taxpayers' money have been given to me, has helped me to become a lawyer. So I have to also give back to what society have given me. We need more lawyers to also look at the cases of the poor. It's not all about taking money. At times, do pro bono cases, cases for the poor. Go in. Bible says that if you do good for the poor, you give to the Lord. So lawyers are doing. I can tell you, most lawyers are doing cases. Some of them are not charging, but on a quiet note. And then we also need to have a lot of lawyers in the system. And then we need to encourage the new ones to do pro bono cases. When you are called to the bar, fresh, they can tell you that maybe for some period of time whilst you are doing the pupillage, don't charge beyond certain limit for the other person to be able to come to you to access. And we must try and do something about the legal cost of legal education in this country. It's becoming too much. It's so frightening that it will get to a stage when you want to become a lawyer, you will not become a lawyer because the money is not there. So we need to help the institution.
Doctor, thank you very much, Dr. Maurice Ampao, President of the Legal Advocacy Foundation. It's been an education, it's been insightful. But yesterday, you must forgive me, somehow I signed off yesterday as today being Friday. I don't know why I was in a hurry to, but today I'm signing off as tomorrow being Friday. So tomorrow we'll be with you with a personality profile on PM Express. Name is Nana Ansakwa. It's been beautiful. And this show all week has been partnered by Star Ghana and Multimedia, who are bringing all these advocacy so that at least we know what the law says, because that's the only thing that's keeping us safe. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next program, and also tomorrow come back and watch Personality Friday.